For most of my teens and early 20s, I was a chronic binge eater, okay? And I thought I would be that way for the rest of my life. I look back on that time now and I'm like, why did I do that? Now it's just so rare for me to eat past the point of being uncomfortably full. But don't worry, because I'm gonna tell you guys all my secrets so you can get to that point too. Just to give you guys a bit of background, okay? I'm 30 years old now. This started when I was like 16 years old in high school. So starting around grade 11, like 16 years old, I used to severely undereat during the week. I'm talking like 1,000 calories per day. And then I would overexercise. So I would go on like 40-minute to an hour long runs every day. And I would also do a bunch of ab exercises. Then on the weekends, when I hung out with my friends, like on a Friday night, I would binge eat like crazy. I'm talking if we got one of those party-sized pizzas, I would eat like 10 slices, handful of 2-bite brownies, candy, etc. Like I would just keep going until I felt sick. I basically had this all or nothing mentality, and if I overate, I figured like, okay, why not just eat past the point of being uncomfortably full as if food like literally wasn't gonna exist the next day. In university, things got a bit better. I would still undereat throughout the day usually, and then I would just drink a bunch of sugary drinks if I went out that night and get drunk food. And I would often get like an entire tray of nachos that was meant to be shared amongst like a few friends as an appetizer, and I would get that at 2 a.m. and sit in my bed and eat it and then just go right to bed. And obviously I would feel horrible the next day. Like if I wanted to go to the gym, like oftentimes I wouldn't go, or if I had class, I would sit there and feel awful. And if I just ate normally throughout the day, I probably wouldn't even need to eat after a night out of drinking, or maybe I would just eat a snack. If this sounds like you, or something similar, just know that this doesn't have to be the rest of your life. Like you can stop binge eating, and I'm gonna tell you 5 tips to help make it a lot easier. Okay, tip number 1, if you're currently eating in a calorie deficit and you feel like extremely restricted, like you're starving all the time, irritable, moody, just like straight up not having a good time, you're probably eating too little. I have clients that had coaches in the past that would just put them on like very strict 1,200 calorie crash diets regardless of their size, just so they would lose weight for summer. What's gonna happen with that is that you may stick to those 1,200 calories during the week, but you're gonna go out on the weekend and eat 4,000 calories in one night from alcohol and junk food. Or you'll wake up in the middle of the night because you're starving, and then you'll go raid the fridge or freezer and just eat everything you can find. Or at the very most, like if you have a lot of willpower, you'll stick to that crash diet for a couple months, and then when summer rolls around, like July, August, when all the barbecues and like the birthday parties and weekend trips start to roll around, you're gonna go crazy as if you've never seen food before. What I would recommend, and this is tried and true by me because I lost 20 pounds earlier this year, stick to a modest deficit, like 300 to 500 calories below your maintenance. Just lose weight at a normal pace. Stick to that deficit for a longer period of time so you can actually reach your goals sustainably. You might be like, oh, Amanda, but that's gonna take more time. Honestly, not really, because if you end up restricting yourself like crazy and then just binging and restricting and just being in that cycle, it's actually gonna take you more time than if you just stick to a modest deficit and like actually stick to it. Okay, tip number 2, I talked about this in my last video, but staying busy really helps with preventing binge eating. If you're the type of person to just eat because you're bored, which I know a lot of you are, you'll be way less likely to binge eat if you're really busy that day and have a lot of things to do. My advice for this would just be to get busier, like take on more projects, start a side hustle, have more hobbies. They don't even need to be exercise related hobbies, like playing an instrument, knitting, even watching a really good TV show that you get hooked on. But of course, active hobbies help, like running, hiking, going to the gym, just like things that aren't centered around food. Of course, making plans with friends and family that don't involve food, like going for a walk to catch up or joining a sport together. Another thing is like if you're at something that is centered around food, like let's say a barbecue or a potluck or whatever, and normally those are hard for you to not binge at, just focus on like having meaningful conversations with people, meeting new people, like getting immersed in that. And then that way food will be more of an afterthought versus something that you're just like so focused on. Okay, tip number 3. I feel like everyone talks about, oh, you're not supposed to be in a calorie deficit forever, obviously, but no one talks about like, you're not even supposed to be in a calorie deficit for a very long period of time. You're actually only supposed to be in a deficit for 12 weeks at a time before taking a diet break. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, diet break means eating in maintenance for a period of time in between longer stretches of calorie deficits. It could be like a long weekend, a week, 2 weeks. Just don't stretch it out to be that long where the diet break becomes longer than a break. For example, I lost 20 pounds this year and I did a deficit from beginning of January to beginning of April. Then I went on a weekend trip where I was gone for like 4 days and I ate in maintenance for those 4 days. Then I continued on a deficit for another like month and a half after that. And then I was in Vegas for a week. So I took time off then to just like not track, eat in maintenance. The trick is during those diet breaks, like you're not going crazy. You're not eating copious amounts of food or drinking copious amounts of alcohol. You're just eating in maintenance. Maybe you're tracking, maybe you're not, but just listening to your body. Basically, these breaks just really help your body and mind recover from being in a calorie deficit. Basically, if you're in a calorie deficit for too long, your body adapts by slowing down your metabolism, increasing hunger, reducing energy output, and just like overall, it's just not a good time, and it can really stall your progress. I know it sounds like a strange thing to do, like taking a break from your calorie deficit, but taking a break for like even a week, this can really reset your body and put yourself in a better position to continue the deficit. It can make your body basically reverse those adaptations and make fat loss more efficient afterward. What I usually tell my clients is, let's say you have a vacation or like a weekend trip to look forward to, use that as a diet break, and then that can actually be really helpful because it can help you like stay on track until that set period of time. Tip number 4 is not having like forbidden foods that are off limits. If you say to yourself like, no desserts, no pizza, then guess what you're gonna be thinking about for like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The best thing to do is to make healthier versions of your favorite foods. And you've come to the right place because I have high protein, low calorie versions of like virtually every dessert and comfort food available. My goal is to help you reach your fitness goals without having to sacrifice your favorite foods. Obviously, you gotta live a little, okay? You wanna let yourself eat the quote unquote real thing every once in a while, especially stuff like donuts. I feel like donuts are so hard to make high protein, low calorie because they're fried. There are certain things where the real thing can't be replaced, and you gotta let yourself have that thing every once in a while. But if you really want to feel like you're not restricting yourself as you're losing weight and you're still enjoying your favorite foods, like I have hundreds of recipes that can help you do this. Hundreds of free recipes, by the way. They're all on my YouTube, my Instagram, my TikTok. You don't need to eat like a literal rabbit and then feel like you need to gorge when you go out for dinner. And tip number 5 is to break out of the cycle. When I used to have a binge, let's say I ate like 5 cookies, I would just be like, okay, I might as well eat the rest of the box. And then I would end up doing that and then starving myself the next day and just having like a terrible day overall because I was starving, feeling bloated, and I just like hated myself. Like I was so down on myself, so much negative self-talk. If you overeat like one day, one night, just think logically, like this is not going to make a massive difference overall to like your overall fitness journey. In the grand scheme of things, it's better to just cut your losses and think like, okay, I ate 5 cookies, it's fine, it's not the end of the world, versus just like going on a giant eating bender. Food addiction, I mean, I wouldn't say food and substance addiction are the same thing, but think about it, like if an alcoholic has one drink, they often think like, okay, might as well just go on a bender. It's like, we don't want to be that person. Obviously, if you're doing this all the time, it's going to affect you in the long run. Like if every weekend you're just going on like a food bender, then I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like, oh, it's okay, like it's not gonna affect your fitness journey. Yeah, like it will. But if you do this like once in a blue moon and you slip up, again, just cut the negative self-talk and tell yourself it's gonna be fine. Just pick yourself back up the next day. It's very important, like the next day after a binge, to just eat normally and not starve yourself, because if you starve yourself, you're just gonna end up in that cycle where you're starving and you binge and you just hate yourself, etc. Sure, you might not be as hungry the next day, but I encourage you to just eat even like smaller meals and to not over-exercise, just exercise as normal. Trust me, everything is gonna be fine. And that's all the tips I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then I'm sure you're looking for more tips, so I'll link another video up here that you should watch next. And please be sure to give this a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel. And I post new videos every week. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye.